You know, when it comes to sharing bedtime stories with kids, some parents really outdone themselves. One parent even told me that they had their kid cry for 3 nights straight because of a story they told them. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to tell you another bedtime story, one that I certainly hope won't have your kids crying for days, but if they do, don't come crying to me. So anyways, let's just get right into it. This story is about a young boy who lived in a city called Alexandria. Now, this Alexandria isn't the one in Egypt, though. No, this Alexandria was built by Alexander the Great way over 2,000 years ago. It was situated on the Mediterranean coast and was considered one of the largest cities in the entire world, boasting around 500,000 residents. Back then, only Alexandria had everything from amazing architecture to gorgeous beaches, a grand library and museum, which were both centers of learning at the time. But what this story is mostly concerned with is the tall lighthouse that stood near the harbor. This lighthouse, known as the Lighthouse of Alexandria, was considered one of the ancient world's 7 wonders, standing 100 meters tall. It was so high that its light could be seen over 50 miles away, guiding sailors safely through the dangerous waters and into the harbor. The lighthouse was also very smart. It had a special mirror that would reflect the sun's rays during the day, making it easier for ships to see. At night, the beam of light would spin around every 90 seconds, helping ships figure out which direction they needed to go. To make sure the light didn't go out, there were people whose entire job was to tend to the fires that kept the beacon burning bright. Every 2 hours, these men would climb up the winding stairs to add more fuel to the fires, and when they got up top, they could see not only the 7 fires that made the light possible, but the entire city below them. They could see all of the homes, shops, and people going about their daily lives, which made the men who worked at the lighthouse feel like they were on top of the world. One of these men was our protagonist. His name was Silas, and he loved his job. He loved climbing the stairs and tending to the fires, and he especially loved looking out over the city. See, ever since he was a little boy, Silas had dreamed of traveling the world. He wanted to see everything it had to offer, from the tallest mountains to the deepest oceans, the busiest cities to the quietest deserts. But living in Alexandria and working at the lighthouse, it was pretty hard to do. Even though the lighthouse was a major landmark, it was still kind of in the middle of nowhere. There were only a few houses nearby, and the people who lived there were either too poor or too old to travel. Plus, working at the lighthouse was a big responsibility. If the light went out, it could lead to many ships crashing and sinking. So someone always had to stay behind to keep it burning. So instead of traveling the world, Silas spent most of his time hanging out with his friends at the local pub. But even then, Silas would always find himself daydreaming about distant lands and adventures. That was until one day when he met an old man who traveled the world and saw everything. The old man's name was Hermes, and he became a regular at the pub. Whenever Silas saw him, he couldn't help but stare at his worn leather bags and listen intently to his stories about faraway places. Then one day, while the two were drinking at the bar, Silas finally worked up the courage to ask Hermes a question. He asked him, "How can I see the world?" And Hermes replied, "Why don't you build a boat and sail away?" Silas thought that was a great idea. He figured he could work at the lighthouse for a few years, save up some money, then use that money to build a boat and set sail. But Hermes simply shook his head and said, "No, you're thinking about this the wrong way. You want to see the world? Then the world needs to see you first." Confused, Silas asked, "What does that mean?" And Hermes replied, "It means you want to go exploring, then you need to explore. But you don't need to go far to do that. You can start by exploring your own city. There's no shortage of new things to discover right here. All you have to do is look." Taking a moment to think about what Hermes had said, Silas realized that he was right. He didn't need to go far to have an adventure. All he had to do was look around. From that day on, Silas started exploring Alexandria, and he found all kinds of amazing things. He found merchants selling spices from India and silk from China. He found philosophers debating the mysteries of the universe, and he found poets singing songs about love and loss. And as he explored, he realized something else. The reason he wanted to travel the world wasn't to see new things, but to help people. He wanted to help people because seeing the world made him happy. And he wanted to make other people happy too. Then one day, while walking along the beach, he saw a group of children playing near the water. The children were playing a game where they pretended to be sailors on a ship that was about to crash into rocks. But one of the children, a young girl, started to get a little too close to the water. The waves were getting bigger and the wind was getting stronger, so Silas decided to step in and help her. He told her to move away from the water, but she wouldn't listen. She just kept playing until a wave knocked her off her feet and swept her away. Without hesitation, Silas jumped into the water and managed to grab onto her before she was pulled too far out. When he brought her back to shore, the girl's parents rushed over and thanked him. The girl looked up at him with admiration and asked him, "Do you want to play again?" Silas replied, "I'd love to, but I have to go to work now. I'll see you later." Then he turned and headed towards the lighthouse. But as he walked, he couldn't help but think about the girl and the other children. He thought about how much fun they had playing pretend, and how, even in a bustling city like Alexandria, they had to be careful of the dangers lurking nearby. That's when it hit him. Instead of going home, he should go to the lighthouse and light the beacon. Dawned. The beam of light was so powerful that it could reach the nearby shores, guiding people safely home. And maybe if he timed it right, he could even watch the children play from afar. So that's exactly what Silas did. He raced up the lighthouse and started a fire, then climbed to the very top to get a good view of the city. And sure enough, as the sun began to set, he could see the children playing on the beach, their laughter carried on the wind. Looking down at them, Silas felt a sense of pride. Even though he wasn't traveling the world, he was still making a difference. And in that moment, he realized that being a light for others could be the greatest journey of all. That's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this story about a young boy who learned that sometimes being a light for others is the greatest journey of all. I know the stories I tell are meant for children, but honestly, anyone can enjoy a good story. And I've heard from so many adults who regularly watch my videos and share them with their kids. Anyways, I'm just glad to hear that. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel so I can spread my stories to more people. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.